Are you looking for all the latest pro football news and content? Of course you are. Who doesn't love football? The question is, how do you get all the latest pro football news and content? There's so many different pro football podcasts on the internet. Which one do you choose? Which one is the right fit for you? Well, you go with the Cross the Middle Show, one of the fastest growing football podcasts out right now. Over the past year, we've climbed the Spotify rankings, become a show you have to listen to if you're a football fan. Find out if the Ravens will go all the way with Odell Beckham Jr., find out if the Eagles did enough to make it back to the Super Bowl. You'll get all of our best stories for just $1 per month. All you have to do is sign up by clicking the link in the episode description box. Welcome back to another episode of the Cross the Middle Show. I'm John Kuzma. This is the place for all your latest pro football news and action. We're going to talk a little bit about Justin Herbert today. He got a new deal. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Trevon Diggs. So let's start with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has a new 5-year, $262 million deal. He got paid, and he got paid a lot. You know, he's the highest paid quarterback in the league right now. Just cashes in. Great move for the Chargers because I have to be honest with you guys, the Chargers have been getting closer and closer ever since Justin Herbert has become their quarterback, and it's not hard to see why. This guy can throw the football all over the place. I mean, that arm is just flat out ridiculous. I mean, he's throwing lasers all over the field. I don't know if anyone in the league has more arm strength and more zip on their passes than Justin Herbert does. They like to get him on play action passes, and then he just can scan those giant holes in the defense and then just laser that thing in there. Did great work with Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, and Joshua Palmer this past year. So I'm excited to see where the Chargers go from here because they actually are heading in the right direction with Justin Herbert. I think this guy is a franchise player. Obviously, he wouldn't have been paid $262 million. You know, you don't open up the checkbook like that for somebody that's just a nobody. That's, you know, the man, so to say. And that's a perfect reflection of Justin Herbert. I mean, the guy is a big-time quarterback that can make any throw on the field. He's a guy that is a proven winner. You know, this team has been in the playoffs and, you know, like I said, getting closer ever since he's been there. And, you know, Justin Herbert is a guy that can unlock this team's potential. He already is. He just needs, you know, the defense to step up. He needs some of the other positions to step up. But Justin Herbert is certainly doing his part to make the Chargers a better football team. Needs a little help from the head coach at times, too. I think we all can agree with that. But overall, great work by Justin Herbert. A guy that is just you know, someone that's going to lead this team into the future and help them, you know, really challenge the Chiefs in that AFC West division because the Chiefs are so good because of Andy Reid and how coordinated they are on the offensive side of the ball and with, you know, Patrick Mahomes. The fact that the Chargers are gaining ground on them says a lot about Justin Herbert because they wouldn't even be close if Justin Herbert wasn't there. But Justin Herbert is so good that, you know, the Chargers are gaining a little bit of ground on the Chiefs. That's what happens when you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, a top 5 quarterback, no doubt about that. You know, you look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has all that help around him. You know, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. You know, I don't want to say Justin Herbert is depleted of talent. He's not because I really like Mike Williams, his ability to go up and get the football. Just how many times Justin Herbert and Mike Williams stretched the field this past year, how good Mike Williams is in the red zone, but it's still not the weapons that Joe Burrow has. Can you imagine Justin Herbert if he had the weapons that Joe Burrow has? I mean, it would be amazing to watch. Justin Herbert is just that guy. He is that good. He does throw the ball all over the place. You know, he just drops back and you can just see his arm waiting to unload. Just unload these passes with all this zip, all this velocity, perfect strikes down the field. Great athlete too. He can do just about anything. If he has to throw on the run, no problem. If he has to, you know, take off and get as much as he can do that too. He's just a guy that is a complete, you know, football player, and he's always been a great athlete going back to when he was in high school. Great athlete at Oregon. It's just always translated over to the next level. I'm surprised by, just how good he is in the pros, though, because there's a big gap between him and most other quarterbacks in the league when we're talking about his athletic ability. So strong, so fluid. The arm of just a cannon. He's got a cannon for an arm that can just uncork those throws all over the place. So many good things that he does well when he's on the field for that team. It's a lot of fun to watch. You just don't see a lot of quarterbacks that are made like that. He's like the perfect mold for a quarterback, like a prototype quarterback. He's the guy that really you want to draft guys that kind of look like Justin Herbert. If you can get someone that's even cut from the same cloth as Justin Herbert, you're going to be in really good shape. And, the chances actually getting another Justin Herbert are very slim because, you're not going to find too many guys that can do the things that he can do on the football field. I mean, it's so impressive. I can't say enough good things about Justin Herbert just because I feel like he is a little bit held back by the Chargers. Yeah, he's uplifting them to new heights. There's no doubt about that. But at times, like the coach made some bad decisions, a couple of years ago. Sometimes the defense doesn't do a good enough job. It's not Justin Herbert. It's the other positions. It's the other parts of that team that, keep him from, turning the corner with the Chargers. But it's only a matter of time before he steps up and gets them, to turn that corner because you can't hold Justin Herbert off forever. Sooner or later he's going to break through because he is that good, because he is that talented. And, the Chargers did a great job drafting him. I think he's so much better than Tua Tagovailoa. It's ridiculous. Tua Tagovailoa just has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I mean, you put Justin Herbert in that Dolphins offense, he's just going to throw the football all over the place. It's going to be bombs away for that Dolphins offense. So Justin Herbert, all the tools in the world, so physically gifted, extremely talented, everything you're looking for in a quarterback, and the Chargers are lucky to have him because he's changing the fortunes of this team. No doubt about that. The other story we have is the Trevon Diggs story. So Trevon Diggs gets a 5-year, $97 million contract. He gets his huge payday too, and I think this is well-deserved for Trevon Diggs because, he's basically been the best ball hawk in the league when it comes to secondary players. He's a great defensive back for the Cowboys, a guy that, breaks on everything. How many routes does this guy jump? If you even throw it around him, he's breaking on those passes and, undercutting these receivers and getting his hands on the football. Then, when he gets his hands on the football, he's so good at completing the catch and finishing the interception. That's why he's become, one of the most prolific ball hawks in the National Football League, a guy that can do just about anything when it comes to intercepting the football. If he needs to go the other way with it for a pick six, that's no problem for him. If he jumps in front of one of these passes, he could easily go the distance the other way because that's how talented Trevon Diggs is at, playing, the cornerback position. He just is so instinctive, and he sits on everything. You think you can squeeze one in there and get it past him, and guess what? He's so instinctive, and he's so good at sitting on those routes that he jumps in front of that pass, and then the quarterback ends up regretting throwing Trevon Diggs' way. How many times have we seen that happen? It happens so many times because he's just so good at playing the cornerback position. He's so good at baiting these quarterbacks into throwing his way. You think you got a little bit of cushion there because he's playing a little bit off, and then he's just so fluid at, running and getting in front of these passes that he makes you pay for throwing his way. Very good on crossing routes. When he has to stride with the crossing route over the middle, those are some of his best interceptions because, you think your wide receiver is going to get separation from him. He stays right on that wide receiver's hip, runs all the way across the field, jumps in front of the pass, There you go, interception. Trevon Diggs does it again. Can defend all the way down the field. If it's like a deep post route, he can stay right on the corners, right on the wide receiver's hip on those plays too, and then go up above the wide receiver, elevate above the wide receiver, and make a high point interception. I've seen him do those things. The guy had like 11 interceptions in a season just a couple of years ago. That's how talented the guy is. 11 interceptions. That tells you, I hate to be a stats guy, but 11 interceptions is flat out ridiculous. That's how good Trevon Diggs is instinctively at, at doing such a good job of, sniffing out what the offense is going to do offensively. You can't fool the guy. A lot of these wide receivers are doing the best they can to be deceptive and kind of deceive these cornerbacks. You want to sell it like it's the complete opposite. So if you're running a go route, you want the cornerback to think you're doing a spot pass or like a bubble screen. Everything has to be all about deceiving these cornerbacks and making them think you're going to do the exact opposite. So if it's a slant route, you want them to think it's an out route. Well, Trevon Diggs is so instinctive that you can't fool him. He doesn't fall for the out route because he knows the slant route is coming. He's a smart player. He's very, very smart. He can diagnose what's the most likely scenario in this particular down and distance. He's so good at doing that. He studies film. Obviously, there's no way he doesn't study film because he is basically clued in on everything that the offense is doing. He can sense. He has a great sense of what is the most likely route a wide receiver is going to run. He can tell if you're in a stance like ready to explode and go deep because you're just amped up and ready to go. He can tell when you're going to come off the line half speed and maybe run a curl route. He can just tell what these wide receivers are going to do. He's so good at that. And not a lot fools Trevon Diggs. People like to hammer on him a little bit and say, he gets beat too often, he gives up too many yards. It's absurd. The guy has 11 interceptions in a season, and people want to talk about how bad of a football player he is. How ridiculous is that? It doesn't make any sense. Obviously, the guy is super talented. All these picks that he's just stacking up. It's not easy to have interceptions. It's a skill and an art form to finish these plays with interceptions. Not easy to do. It's a reflection of how talented Trevon Diggs really is. He can do it all. He can cover. He can get in there and break these passes up. Jumps in front of so many routes, like I said. Does it all at the cornerback position. There's not a lot that you can do with Trevon Diggs besides throw in the opposite direction. You don't want to throw his way or you're going to pay the price. There's no doubt about that. So you got to throw the opposite way at Trevon Diggs. You have to build your whole game plan around avoiding Trevon Diggs. Think about how huge that is for the Cowboys defense. You got to worry about Micah Parsons, where he's coming from, where he's lined up at, how you're going to protect the quarterback and stop Micah Parsons. Then you have to split the field in half with Trevon Diggs. You can't throw his way. You have to throw the opposite way, or you're going to end up paying the price for going after Trevon Diggs when he wants you to throw at him, because that allows him to showcase his skills and talent. I think this is a huge signing for the Cowboys too, because they take care of one of their best players on the defensive side of the ball outside of Micah Parsons. He's probably the top guy there. And, for Trevon Diggs, it's huge for him because he, cashes in, gets his huge payday. And it also sets the tone for the team because it shows that if you ball out and take your game to another level, you're going to be rewarded for the things that you do if you're a Cowboy, which is one of the best things you can do for the locker room. I think all the rest of the guys in that locker room wanted to see Trevon Diggs get paid because they've witnessed firsthand how dynamic of a player he is and how much of an impact he has for that football team. They all know that Trevon Diggs is making plays left and right, and he's changing the outcome of these football games because he's getting all these takeaways and giving the ball back to the offense and getting the defense off the field and doing all these little things that help win football games. He's so good at doing those things. Give all the credit in the world to Trevon Diggs, just a big-time football player, well-deserved, 5 years, $97 million. Congratulations, Trevon Diggs. You've earned it. One of the top corners in the league, well-deserved. I can't say good job enough to Trevon Diggs. I have to applaud everything he's done in the National Football League. It's been so fun to watch. That's all I got for this latest episode of the Cross the Mill Show. I'm John Kuzma. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sign up for $1 per month. For just $12 per year, you can get all the latest pro football news and action, and you can also support this show. So thank you guys so much. I'm signing off. Have a great night.